Hello, podcast fam. I am thrilled to share some exciting news. My book, Sow, Grow, Lead, is officially live on Amazon. This book is more than just my story of starting a nonprofit and building a peanut butter factory in Malawi. So trust me, the ups and downs of that journey are worth the read. It's also packed with practical strategies to help nonprofit leaders like you tackle challenges with clarity, courage, and a whole lot of heart. If you've ever wondered how to turn your vision into reality, navigate the inevitable hurdles, and build something meaningful, whether in your organization or in your own life, this book is for you. I'd be so grateful for your support in spreading the word. Grab your copy of Sow, Grow, Lead in the show notes and on Amazon today. Let's keep sowing seeds of impact together. Welcome to the Lead with Heart podcast, which is dedicated to nonprofit leaders who are passionate about making a difference. I'm your host, Haley Cooper, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on a journey of growth, inspiration, and transformation. At Lead with Heart, we believe that leading with heart means embracing empathy, compassion, and authenticity in every aspect of our work. It's about putting people first, fostering genuine connections, and creating a positive impact that goes beyond numbers and metrics. In the nonprofit world, it can often feel like we're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. The challenges are immense and the road can be lonely. But here, you're not alone. This podcast is a community where we support each other, share our stories, and learn together. Each episode will dive into personal and professional development topics tailored specifically for nonprofit leaders. From innovative fundraising strategies and effective team management to self-care practices and leadership insights, we're here to provide you with practical strategies that you can apply to your life and work. My goal is to empower you, elevate your leadership, and engage your heart in all that you do. I want to help you navigate the unique challenges of the nonprofit sector with confidence and resilience, so you can continue to create meaningful change in the world. So whether you're driving to a meeting, taking a break, or winding down for the day, tune in and join us on this journey. Together we'll discover what it truly means to lead with heart. Thank you for being here. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lead with Heart podcast. This is your host, Haley Cooper, and I am thrilled to welcome Elaine, a passionate advocate for Christian female entrepreneurs and a true champion of empowering women to pursue their God-sized dreams. We met a few weeks ago. She has a wonderful story, and I am so excited to dive into it. She is the founder of She Steps Forward Coaching and She Steps Forward International. Elaine has dedicated her life to equipping women to launch and grow successful businesses, ministries, and nonprofits. With her expertise as a certified John Maxwell team member, she blends faith-based entrepreneurial coaching, leadership development, and strategic planning to help women step confidently into their callings. Well, welcome to the podcast, Elaine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Well, I'm excited to dive in, learn more about you. So can you tell us a little backstory of what led you to She Steps Forward? How did this vision come to be, if you are willing to share?
Absolutely. So what your listeners will be interested in is that I have a long-standing nursing career history. And so I had been a nurse since 1992 all the way up until about 2008. And it was right around 2008 that I had a shift in life. I had unfortunately had a career issue that kind of led to me having to end my nursing career, not anything that I could control. And then I went through a period very shortly thereafter that my father passed away and my husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer at 47. So we had quite a year that just fell upon us, and I was just a little bit disillusioned and really had to do some soul searching. And so being a person of faith was a period of time I really had to lean into my faith, and that's what I did. And after a period of time, I felt God give me this call to just really raise up his daughters. And so I wasn't quite sure what that all looked like at the point, but I knew I was recreating my life. And I wanted to help bring some women into their callings as well. And so took some time, really sat with that to hear from him. And She Steps Forward, the conference, was born in 2019. And it was my motivational piece to get women out of their seat and get them moving in the direction that God was calling them. And slowly over time, as he's morphed it, as we've grown things out, it really has fallen into what we call the marketplace ministry space, where faith-based women are working to start businesses, ministries, and nonprofit. And they're normally the type that are community oriented, meaning that they really do have a heart for their communities, and there's some need that they are trying to solve. And we want to be able to help them do that. And so, having gone through what I went through, I ended up writing a book, it's the short version. And because you write a book, then you have to market the book. And that was my first step into entrepreneurship. And so my journey has really, across time, helped me develop an LLC and then the nonprofit piece, which we can get into a little bit more. And because of all of those experiences, I want to bring that background to the table, and I want to help women get to where they're trying to go a little bit faster.
I love that. And thank you so much for sharing your story. And I think a lot of people can relate to, at least I can, a call on my heart to do something better, to do something greater than myself. And it's not for me, it's for the service of God. But I had that call back in 2012 when God literally sent me away to Africa at age 24 to start a nonprofit. And it was like just a clear voice. So I'm sure that our listeners can relate to that calling, whether it's faith or spiritual or not, just that sense of I need to be doing something, and then laying out that clear vision to do something more. So as a nonprofit founder and an entrepreneur, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in starting this business?
Well, it's funny. I did not come out of a corporate background. So let me start with that so that it has that context to it. And starting into entrepreneurship was a new world for me. I was used to working for somebody, not working for myself. And so I had to learn really quickly how to be the leader of my own ship. And that's probably one of the biggest things that women go through, is learning how to lead and to lead effectively. And then probably the second thing I would say that was major in that journey was learning how to finance what it was that I was trying to do. Now, I was lucky that I was able to go back and kind of recreate part of my nursing career and have some cash on hand and kind of bootstrap and do some things myself. But over time, you got to learn how to make it sustainable. And so you start learning how to get into that game of financing effectively as well. And so those two things alone are probably the two biggest things that I see that keep women from stepping out or stepping forward, as we say, confidently. And so we want to be a part of that solution, and we want to lean into that and to help them feel like they can lead and they can find the capital that they need to do what they want to do with their dream.
Yeah, I think that's so important. One of my favorite leadership books called Lead Well from Within with Dr. Danny Friedland. And he talks about how we have to lead effectively ourselves so that we can then go and lead others. And so when in the context of the work that you do, what are some of the skills or trainings that you offer to help these women learn how to lead effectively?
So in their nonprofit lane, we have a four-pronged approach. Now, of course, I do one-to-one coaching on the side, targeting 0 to 3-year entrepreneurs that really want to get out and launch those businesses, ministries, or nonprofits. But in our nonprofit lane, coming alongside women who are not ready for the one-to-one coaching piece and trying to make it more affordable to go ahead and start on their vision. And so we offer an annual conference. We call it the She Steps Forward International Women's Conference. And here in the States, we do that every March. And we've been blessed to have an open door to Africa like you did. And we do it every May over there in Nairobi, Kenya. But we're also offering a membership that we're going to be launching in February. And part of our membership is that we have some of the most talented entrepreneurial /coaches, female of nature, that are across the country that are coming and helping us do a workshop on their designated topic of expertise. So we'll be housing a library of audio material and video material that these women can access on demand through the membership program. That's just one aspect of it. And then we're looking to launch in the fall a 6-month cohort program. And this will be application-based. It'll be for those people who are really hungry to take their work to the next level and really want some intensive coaching. And we have a group that's going to come around there and do 6 months worth of training with them. And then last but not least, the She Stops for International is trying to become a seed money grant organization, meaning we know that in entrepreneurship, the hardest piece is that capital. And we want to be able to give seed money grants out to worthy entrepreneurs, whether they're brand new starting out or whether they've been out just a little while and they need to scale up a little bit. And so that'll be our four-pronged approach to helping these ladies step out.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And I love this idea of helping them with this multi-pronged approach to really make them successful. And a few episodes ago, I had Alix from Lebec talk about different ways that we can finance nonprofits, finance small business owners. And it's not maximize philanthropy to make an either greater impact. And I think the Seed Money Grant Program is such a powerful initiative. So what inspired its creation? And has this launched yet? Or what do you hope the change will be for these women?
So the Seed Money Grant Program for me is more out of my own experience that there is grant money out there for certain things at certain times, but we don't always, all of us fall into the categories that are needed to gain those grants. And if you're not in a position where you can't take what you're bringing in as income and help bootstrap yourself, then where will the money come from? And so we want to make sure that women will take that step out and not be afraid. And so if we can provide them just a little incentive to go ahead and get started, we know that the doors will start opening up for them because we are big believers, again, being people of faith, that if you take that one step, God will open up the rest of the way for you. And the other part of that is because of our experiences in Africa, where poverty is what is the main thing that is keeping women down. And they want to be able to take care of their children and send them to school just like we do over here. And they need a step-by-step approach. They need something to help them get above that poverty line so that they can see forward. And so if we can help a woman along the way take that excuse out of the way so that she'll start moving, we know that she'll progress. And so that's where it comes from. And we just feel like it is the best way to give everybody the best shot. And we just want to be able to lean into people. We want to be able to feel like we gave back while we're also helping in other lanes.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because I feel like the women are not to generalize or stereotype, but like women are the foundations of those communities. They go to the water well, they provide the food, they help with the kids. And so if you can uplift them out of poverty, teach them how to run a business, there'll be such a ripple effect for the community because in those environments, it is very community oriented and they lift each other up and they share resources. And so I think if you can teach that women to get to that point, the ripple effect of impact will be there.
Absolutely. And it's funny, the two cultures have their own incentives, right? So here in America, it's more of taking away a simple excuse. Let's put it that way. I think American women have a lot of drive and we have a lot of things going for us and we have a lot of opportunity here. And so it's a matter of confidence. And when someone gives you a seed grant, that really breathes life into them, that someone is very confident that what you have is something that needs to come to the world. In Africa, it's a matter of if you just give them a little, it is amazing what they will do. And so it really in Africa doesn't take as much to get them launched as it does even over here in the States. But the joy in them that comes out from just being gifted a little bit of amount is amazing. And so we want to make sure both women have their needs met and we want to incentivize them culturally appropriate.
Yeah, definitely. And along those lines, obviously, you have created a powerful global movement, the She Steps Forward International, mainly focused in Nairobi, Kenya. What led you to expand your vision to Africa, and how do you balance serving those diverse communities?
So it's really a God thing. In 2019, when I launched the She Steps Forward conference, not even really being someone who had a large website or a large following or really even doing any mass marketing, there was a Nigerian-born woman who was in Kenya. She was co-pastoring with her husband. I didn't know at the time that she already had ties to the United States, but she was obviously looking online for things that she could bring back to her community, and she found our conference. And I was so honored that she took the time and put in the effort to fly over and be a part of our very first She Steps Forward conference. It was quite something. And then after spending some time with her a few days after conference, she asked me if I would come to Nairobi. And that's how it got started. And so in February of 2020, right before the whole world shut down, me and about 3 other people who were super curious to go over went. And we had our first She Steps Forward conference there in Nairobi. And it has just been a labor of love and passion. And we're so excited to be able to serve them. And serving them, we really try to build a cultural foundation that serves them best. And so here in America, we're very much used to conferences, workshops, that entrepreneurial nature. There, we're building that foundation with them. We're started off with some motivational, inspirational. Now we're moving into some more of those practical, technical pieces. And I'm super excited that even in Africa with technology, which is just so great these days, just recently in Africa, we've been able to launch a small beta cohort with 5 different entrepreneurial-minded women, and they are doing fantastic, just starting from learning how to name your business to the point that you might want to trademark it, to designating your avatar, to what will your products be. And it's just been a thrill to get online with them once a month and start working them through that process.
Yeah, I definitely think if there's a will, there's God's way, right? And He will give you access to the things that you need. And I think that's so beautiful that with the internet, you can connect to people all over the world and really empower them to step up to that next level. Imagine a fundraising partner that not only helps you raise more money, but also supports you in retaining your donors. A partner that helps you raise funds both online and on location so you can grow your impact faster. That's DonorBox, a comprehensive suite of tools, services, and resources that give fundraisers just like you a custom solution to tackle your unique challenges, helping you achieve the growth and sustainability your organization needs, helping you help others. Visit donorbox.org to learn more.
Yeah, it's been a great experience. And it really, I think if you've never traveled overseas, you don't have really a great conception. I've been out of country twice now, once Nicaragua, now into Kenya, and I love learning new cultures. It's very heartwarming to see they want and need the same things that we do. And there's such a great level that we can all rise to and connect. And that connection is just more than you can ever believe. I get so much more out of them than even I know that they're getting out of me. And I love that piece of it. Always learning, always progressing, and always championing the next woman.
Yeah. And I think even that mindset needs to apply to all nonprofits or people that are teaching other people, right? Like I remember, and I wrote about this in my book, going into Malawi and seeing farming organizations from out of country say, you have to farm this way. It just didn't work with the tradition or the culture or how they were used to farming. And it wasn't effective because it wasn't listening to the community. It wasn't working with the community to understand their needs, how they work, how they operate, and then maybe provide some advice on how to plant, or better turn over their soil. But you can't go in just saying, this is what I know, this is how you're going to do it, and not really listen to that community and get that connection that you were talking about.
I think part of what helped me going into Kenya is I had fortunately had the experience of going down to Nicaragua for 9 years with a previous church that I was at. And we were very culturally sensitive when we went in. We wanted to make sure they knew we weren't coming there to Americanize them. And we learned the joy of learning their culture, and we learned how much more respecting them gained us. And so I will never forget, I'll say this really quickly, not to disparage anyone, but I'll never forget another church organization coming in and saying that we were down in Nicaragua and just, like you said, rolling up we were building little houses and they rolled up with the power tools and just all the things. And the Nicaraguans were very hands-on people. And we had learned their method of nailing nails and measuring stuff out. And they were taken aback and they actually walked off the job site. And I thought that is the saddest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And I think from that experience, it set me up in a way. All that experience of going down there set me up to be better when I walked into Kenya. And so we try really hard to be culturally sensitive there too. And we are learning from them and we're learning together. And I think that's the best approach.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And leadership development plays a big role in your work. Can you tell me what a John Maxwell team member means, and what are some of the key leadership principles you emphasize with the women you coach?
So yeah, I went down and got the John Maxwell certification. I love John Maxwell. I love his approach to leadership and just love his easygoing spirit and all the people that he's been able to help over the years. And so John has been masterful, as you know, of writing who knows how many books at this point and still counting. And I love what he does as building you up as a leader. His 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership has probably been his bestseller overall. And it's true, like there's the law of attraction, there is the law of the lid. And learning these things and how to better ourselves as leaders is what's helped me and what I love to teach to others in gaining a better perspective on their leadership. And so he also has a great one that just came out a few years back now that was, I'm trying to remember, it's called Below Your Lid. It's capacity or something like that. It's basically about looking in ourselves and saying, okay, these are the traits that I was born with and that I can strengthen. And these are the traits that I'm not born with. And I have to decide whether I need to learn them or whether I let them go and just play to my other strength. And so he has so many great concepts and things for us to teach us to be better that I've just so enjoyed learning from him over the years. And there's just dozens and dozens of things that you could pull out of his work and use with another person. And I love that John has been around the world. And so you really can take his materials and adapt them across the world. And so that makes it really nice.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important point. Another person who was on the podcast, a mentor of mine, Dr. Lola Gershfeld, always says that exceptional leaders are self-aware leaders. So they understand, like you said, what their strengths are, and they have that understanding of maybe what some of their weaknesses are, or what they're not, what they weren't born with, I don't know. And then being self-aware of how to utilize those in the work that you do. Utilize your strengths and play to those rather than necessarily focusing on your weaknesses and what you can't do, but how can you apply those strengths to the work that you were called to do?
Yes. I believe his book, because I want to get it right, I believe his book is called Beyond Limit, Blow the Cap Off Your Capacity. That was his last book that talked about the two aspects of our nature and how to build upon them. It has enhanced my life over the years. Going through my nursing career, I've always been one who pushed up the ladder. And so leadership has been one of my traits. I feel like it's one of my God-given abilities, but I do believe that other people can always become leaders and become good leaders. It just takes us being lifelong learners, and then we can get there.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to running a successful, like small business, nonprofit, or ministry, what are some of those key leadership traits that someone can embody or learn to embody?
So I think let's talk nonprofit world. I think it's a big leadership role to run in the nonprofit role. You're really trying to coordinate a lot of things. You're having to interact with a lot of stakeholders, whether they be donors or businesses that may be helping you out. And so you have to learn how to, one, be confident in yourself and your presentation and what your strengths are so that you promote that consistently. And then you really need to have a level of being able to manage several things at one time. You also need to have a level that you know how to delegate. And delegate is a huge thing in leadership, and especially when you're running a nonprofit, to be able to do. And so the other piece that I love about leadership, and I think in the nonprofit world, is really looking forward to legacy. and starting to build out what you're doing with that legacy in mind, and it shapes everything that you're doing within your organization. And so building your mission, vision, values out of what you want to see that organizational legacy be, it's a great trait that a leader can bring to the table and or attempt to learn so that the organization is more effective and efficient, and it does serve out its mission and hopefully even lives beyond the people who started it.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I've talked about this on the podcast before about legacy. So what, as it pertains to nonprofits, because that's most of my listeners, and most of them are CEOs. So if you're listening to this, you're at the head of the organization. And while you have the idea that you want to stay around forever, it is important to build up those systems and infrastructures to carry on that legacy of the organization. So what systems are you training them to put in place, or how are you coaching them to leave that legacy of the organization as it was originally intended?
Yeah, and I'm so proud of the team that we have. We're a full non-board team, and we also have surrounded ourselves with a 7-person advisory board at this point. And it's really letting those people bring their talents to the table. And I have been super excited, super pleased, and just super humbled and honored to have the people who come around She Steps Forward, and they're just all so talented. And when you as the leader can let go and let them, they just seem to rise to the top, and your organization is going to be a better organization for it. So all of my people have their designated assignment. They have their designated passion within the project that they want to bring. And they picked that as they came to me. I did not go to them and say, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I said, what interests you about my organization? What interests you about the nonprofit? What are you passionate about that we're doing? And let them lean into that. And they have just come away with just remarkable ideas and remarkable brainstorming, remarkable teamwork. And I think where we as leaders where we can be the servant leader in the organization and not so much just the leader, and let our people help lead. You're starting to build something now that can build some momentum. And then the other piece of what we're doing is really focused on, it's so funny, like I just felt like when my time came and I was going to step up, there really wasn't a woman in front of me that was pulling me along. And we want our legacy to be that we were women for the most part. We do have 2 gentlemen. We appreciate them. But we are women who took the time to turn around and pull the next woman up. And so I think when we work our organizations in that fashion and we build that kind of culture into our organizations, they are going to be lasting legacy that we're going to look back and follow on one day.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you have a team surrounding you that really is able to build out those talents that go along with the passion for the organization. And you talked a lot about the She Steps Forward conference, and you shared one of the memorable moments of how you got into Nairobi. But are there any other memorable moments from these events? And how do you continue to foster community and collaboration among those that attend?
Yeah, so we have been in a period where this has been shaping and molding itself. And again, being a faith-based person, I've let God lead that path. And so one of the reasons that we're bringing in the membership piece is to make sure that as we have conference attendees come in, that they don't just fall off during the year, that we have opportunity for them to lean in and get training and teaching and encouragement all through the year, and then come back to conference the next year. We found that biggest piece is going to be the thing that really builds upon what we're doing. Because when you go to a conference and then you don't go back the next year, you lose a lot in between. And some of my experience, and I've been to some really great conferences and things, that's been my thing. You get home, you get all excited, you're going to do this and that and the other, and then there's nobody connected that's with you or doing anything with you. And then a few months later, you fall off the pace. You lose your initiative for it. And so what we're trying to do with our organization now, we know it's going to be a game changer, is we're going to build in that middle piece of membership where we are there for you all year long. And so that's going to be our push this year to close the gap, because we see that people, if we don't have that, may not necessarily stick around, and we don't want to lose them, and we don't want to see them lose any steam in their engine.
Yes, I've totally been there where I've gone on a missions trip. I'm all fired up and then I get home and 2 weeks later I'm back into my normal life. And I'm like, I was halfway across the world 2 weeks ago. And I've seen that in other people too. So I think continuing to cultivate that community through a membership model is incredible to continue to engage them and empower them to be on their entrepreneurial journey. So is there anything as you wrap up, anything else that you would love to share with our listeners about you or the work that you do?
So I would love our listeners to know that we really focus on 3 categories that we feel most women when they're building their dream, whether it's business, whether it's a parachurch ministry or nonprofit work. And that is confident, learning strategy, and learning to lean into sustainable growth. And so if you're someone who really needs those 3 areas covered, we got you covered. And one of the things that we're getting ready to do is we're getting ready to launch a free 5-day challenge in February, from February 10th to the 14th. And we want to lean into women who are trying to develop those God-sized dreams and not just go through the business basics, but lean into how they're weaving their faith inside of those entrepreneurial ventures. And we think it's going to be a pretty special week. And we hope that we'll have everyone come and join us and see what She Steps Forward is really all about.
That is wonderful. And I can't wait to share more about it. All of that will be in the show notes. Where can people find you and the work that you do?
Absolutely. So they can find us on our website at shestepsforwardinternational.org. We're also on Facebook and Instagram under that name, She Steps Forward International. And they are welcome to get a hold of me at Elaine at shestepsforwardinternational.org.
Well, thank you so much, Elaine. Being here with you has brought me so much joy, and I'm just so excited to share the word about She Steps Forward, and I'm just so inspired by you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor to be with you, and we appreciate the work that you do, right?
If you have valued these stories or learned something from what you've heard, please share this podcast episode or follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your support, and together we can build a better community and world.